J. Jinendra, welcome to Adults Class 2, Practical Applications of Jainism. Let's start with the Nokar Mantra. Namo Arhantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryanam, Namo Uvajayanam, Namo Luve Savasahunam, Eso Panchanamokaro, Sava Pavapanasano, Mangala Lancha Savesi, Paramam Have Mangala. So, what were you thinking about just then?
While saying it.
Yeah, while we were saying the Nokar Mantra, what were you thinking about?
We just came from the there, so I have an image of the word there in my mind while I was doing that.
That's great.
I was seeing the words as I was going.
Seeing the words,
Yeah.
that's great. Like in a type?
I have one picture which has Navka Mantra, so I just follow it.
So you're
I
seeing
stay
that
focused.
page.
Yeah.
That's great. So a lot of us think in images here. Some people think in words. Well, what should you have been thinking about?
The meaning.
The meaning, right, the meaning. And the meaning is, of course, I bow down to the Arihants, I bow down to the Siddhas, etc. And why do we bow down to them?
They're showing us the right path.
Because they're showing us the right path. They have characteristics that we want to emulate. So believe it or not, you should have been thinking about the number 108. The number 108 has significance across mathematics, religion, philosophy, and even science. It shows up everywhere. Sometimes it's a coincidence, and sometimes it's not. So a baseball has 108 double stitches. The internal angles of a regular pentagon is 108 degrees. In astronomy, the average distance between the Earth and the Sun is about 108 times the diameter of the Sun. And similarly, the average distance between the Earth and the Moon is about 108 times the diameter of the Moon. 108 is also what's known as a Harshad number. A Harshad number is when it is divisible by the sum of its digits. So 1 plus 0 plus 8 is 9. And the number 108 is divisible by 9. Specifically, it goes into it 12 times. As far as I can tell, that's recreational math. I don't know of any real-world applications of Harshad numbers. If anybody knows any, feel free to tell me. I don't know why it would be important to know that a number is divisible by the sum of its digits. So the number 108 also appears in other religions. For example, in Hinduism, they chant a mantra 108 times, and that's believed to help focus the mind and harmonize the body with the universe. Many gods and goddesses have 108 names, and some of the sutras in Hinduism is reciting the 108 names of Shiva, the 108 names of Vishnu, like that. Their texts, the Upanishads, there are 108 of them. And they have 108 sacred dance movements known as the Garamas. A lot of times their pilgrimages involve 108 steps, and their rituals involve 108 items like flowers or lamps or sutras. 108 also appears in Buddhism. Buddhism teaches that humans are bound by 108 defilements. That is, that's what keeps us bound to the earth, and that's what we have to fight. There are the 6 senses, so it's a combination of things. 6 senses, you multiply that by 3 feelings, which are pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Multiply that by 2 states, pure and impure. You multiply that by 3 timings, past, present, and future. You multiply that by 2 types, internal defilements and external defilements. And you multiply that by 3 modes or mental states, attachment, aversion, and indifference. So if you multiply all those, you get 108. At midnight on New Year's Eve, Buddhist temples ring their bells 108 times So that represents purification from each of the 108 defilements. So 108, as you know, probably it also appears in Jainism. Our mala is 108. Our temples have 108 steps leading to the temple area. Some temples are 108 idols of the same god. So, for example, you may go to a temple and it's 108 idols of Parshvanath. A lot of our rituals, like I Am Built Up, includes repeating an item 108 times. Yes.
I heard you said that it appears in Buddhism. Do we know in what context?
Yes, there are 108 defilements.
Okay.
So you're supposed to get rid of 108 things. And each time, there's lots of rituals and sutras, or whatever they call sutras, and prayers you can do for each one of them. So a lot of them have 108 in them. But the main reason that Jainism, the main reason that 108 appears in Jainism is because there's 108 attributes of the Panchparmeshti, which is why we should think about that when we say the No Karma. So we're supposed to think about the meaning. I bow down to the Arihants, Siddhas, Acharyas, Upadhyas, and Sadhus. And we're bowing down because we want to emulate those qualities. And what are the qualities? There are 108 qualities. So it's time to go through them. Arihants have 12 qualities or attributes. Siddhas have 8. Acharyas 36. Upadhyas 25. And Sadhus and Sadhvis 27. Okay, so 12 attributes of the Acharya. The 4 main ones are omniscience. They deliver extraordinary sermons for the benefit of humanity. They're worshipped by all the souls of the universe. And wherever they are, no calamities or diseases exist there. The 8 other attributes are Simhasan, a divine seat from where they deliver their sermons. Bhamandal, a halo behind their head, which is why you see that halo depicted in Jain art. Chamar, which are angels waving fans to honor them. Chatras, which is a 3-tier divine umbrella over their head. You may have seen that in paintings, which suggests that they're the spiritual leader. Ashok Vruksha, which is the tree under which they deliver their sermons. Pushpa Vrishti, a continuous shower of fragrant flowers. Deva Dunbi, which is a divine announcement declaring their sermons. And Divya Davni, a celestial music accompanying their sermons. There are 8 attributes of the Siddha. Infinite knowledge, perception, perfect conduct, infinite energy, uninterrupted happiness, immortality because they don't have a human body, formlessness also because they don't have a human body, and they're co-equal with all other siddhas. And that means that they're all the same, but they're not one being. Some religions teach that we're all the same being, and after we die, we're all one. But that's not Jainism. They're all souls are the same. Your soul is the same as my soul, but it's not the same being. It has the same qualities. Oh, I guess we didn't talk about, does everybody remember what's a Arihant, Siddha, Acharya, Upadhyaya, and Sadhu Sadhi? Does everybody know? So Arihant is a person who is going to become a Tirthankar. And that's why we, even though they haven't gotten rid of the 4 of the 8 karmas, that's why we say their names first. Siddhas are what we're all trying to be. Not everybody becomes a Tirthankar, but you can all become Siddhas. We're trying to achieve moksha. Acharya is the highest learned human in Jainism. Upadhyaya is a step under that, and Sadhu and Sadhvi is a step under that. Questions or comments so far? You guys are quiet today.
Difference between Sadhu and Upadhyaya. It's
one is the teacher, so the acharya is referred to as the principal monk, and so he leads the Sangha of the Munis, and then the Upadhyaya is supposed to be like the most learned. Like technically they're supposed to know all the 8 angs, but nobody knows that anymore. But that's the technical definition. So there's no, if you look at it technically, there cannot be an Upadhyaya now because nobody knows all the angs. And then, but they're supposed to be the ones who teach the sadhus, right? So that's the difference.
Upadhyas have memorized all the agams.
All the
And-
whole Agam book.
That's not a requirement for a sadhu sadhu. Other questions or comments? Okay, so let's continue. We did the 8 attributes of the Siddha. This is all in your book. It's in chapter 1, I think. Let's talk about the 36 attributes of the Acharya. So they have control over their 5 senses. That's 5 right off the bat. 9 ways to guard against sensual pleasure. We talked a little bit about this last time. 9 ways to guard against the pleasure of our senses. That is, don't stay near a place where persons of the opposite sex are. Don't be alone with the person of the opposite sex. Don't observe the body of a person of the opposite sex. Don't sit at the same place where the person of the opposite sex has been sitting until a certain amount of time has passed. Don't listen to conversations of couples. Don't think about sensual pleasures that you experienced in the past. Don't consume intoxicating food or liquids. Don't eat tasty food. Eat normal food. And don't adorn or decorate your body. Wear simple clothes of modesty. So those are ways to guard against sensual pleasures. There are 9 of them. And those are the 9 attributes of the Acharya. The next is free from the 4 passions: anger, ego, deceit, greed. Commitment to the 5 great vows, which you already know. Observations of the 5 codes of conduct. The 5 codes of conduct are the code of conduct regarding right knowledge, right faith, the code of conduct regarding an ascetic life, the code of conduct with regards to austerities, and the code of conduct with regard to what they think, do, and say, mental, verbal, and physical. So that's 5 of them. 5 are the samitis, or their carefulness in the 5 activities. Their samitis are carefulness in movement, carefulness in speech, carefulness in when they accept alms, to avoid there are 42 different things that can go wrong when they accept alms. Carefulness in getting rid of bodily waste. And carefulness in handling clothes, pots, and pans used for alms. And finally, there are the 3 restraints of thought, speech, and bodily activity. Man, vachan, kaya. So all of that equals 36. Digambars have 36 different austerities of the acharyas. Not eating food for a set period of time, eating less than needed, eating within a certain amount of times, eating non-tasty food, penance, that is tolerating physical pain of your body, and staying in a lonely or miserable place. Those are the 6 external attributes. 6 internal attributes: repentance, humility, selflessness, study of religious scriptures, meditation, giving up physical activities. 10 virtues: forgiveness, humility, straightforwardness, contentment, and truth. Remember, those are our weapons in the fight against our 4 passions. Restraint of all senses, austerities, renunciation, non-possessiveness, celibacy. The 5 codes of conduct we talked about before. 6 essential duties, this is different. Prayer to Tirthankars, devotion to gurus, studying of scriptures, self-restraint, penance, and imparting knowledge to others. And 3 guptis, which is man, vachan, kaya again. So a little bit different for Digambars. Okay, we have 108 to get through, so I know we have to go a little bit fast, but I do want to hear your questions and comments.
Yeah.
Remember, the purpose of this is, these are things we want to emulate. These are things we're supposed to be thinking about when we bow down to the Panchparmeshti. So it's usually the hardest part of this class is, well, how does it apply to your life? That's the easy part today. It's easy to figure out how these apply to your life. We just want to do these things. Okay, 25 attributes of the Upadhyaya. This This one's easy because the main difference between the Upadhyas and the Sadhu Sadhvis are their memorization of the Agams, and there are 11 canonical texts they have to memorize, the Anga Agams, so that's 11 attributes right there. And there are also a separate 12 canonical texts, the Upanga Agam, and that's 12 right there. So that only leaves 2 left. There are 2 other scriptures that they need to know. The Charan Satari, which is a scripture of proper conduct, and the Karan Satari, which is the scripture of proper practice.
So now there's nobody who has memorized them? Is that?
I think so. I think
Is
that's
that because
right.
the books are lost?
They don't exist, yeah.
We only have a certain amount left
Of the actual
of the
books?
Agams, yes. And their actual text, you can go to temples in India and you can see the Agams there. And they'll be written in Prakrit. So you can see them and then you'll have to look at a translation.
They have them over there.
They have the physical Agams there. Certain temples are in charge of maintaining the physical Agams, the actual text.
How many are lost?
I'm not sure.
Which temples have that?
We'll have to look them up. But we do have video. Somebody went. Who was it that went? Somebody went and took a video of the Agams in the temples in India. So I know they exist.
Oh,
I
nice.
think it was 2 years ago. Okay, not too many left. Just the 27 attributes of the sadhus and sadhvis. Okay, so it's easy because you know all of them probably. The 5 great vows, you know, to protect one sense beings, water, fire, earth, and air, plants, and then to protect the moving 5 sense beings, so that's 6 of them. To control the pleasures of the 5 senses, that's 5 of them. The 5, to observe the 5 samitis, or carefulness, that's only 1 of them. I don't know why that's not 5 of them. Maybe they had to get to 108 somehow, and they didn't count it. In other things, it's counted as 5, right? But for here, it's counted as 1. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to shoehorn it into 108. So yeah, that's 1. To control mind, speech, and body, that's 3. Don't eat before sunrise or after sunset, that's 1. To forgive others, to avoid greed, to endure hardship, to endure suffering, to be introspective, to keep the heart pure. They're all kind of really easy to follow except for that one. I believe that is talking about the leshyas. Okay? To keep the heart pure. It doesn't have anything else there, so I'm pretty sure it's talking about the leshyas. That is, your state of mind. You can have different purities of your state of mind represented by 5 colors, which is also, we remember from the story of the people and the mangoes. And that adds up to 27. Although it should be 31, but I don't know. Why are the 5 samitis 1? Okay, so some scriptures, so Digambars have a significant requirement that the male monks don't wear clothes because that's attachments, right? And then some scriptures give 27 different ones. Are the samitis 5 in this one? No, they're not even samitis here. Okay, so 5 great vows, 5 senses, 4 kashayas, control of them, that's 4. 3 guptis we talked about. Reflections, there's 3 of them. Reflections on dharma, reflections on activities, and reflections on manvachankaya. Seems duplicative. Darshan, Sabhyatnan, Darshan Charitra, that's 3. Forgiveness, disinterest in worldly affairs, conquering of parishahas. What does that mean? Anybody know? So it means enduring hardships and suffering with equanimity. Salenka, which is endurance and fearlessness towards death. And we get 27 if you fudge the counting. Okay, so Digambar tradition, in addition to the nakedness requirement for monks, we have 5 great vows, control of 5 senses, 6 essentials. These are different. Deva Puja, Guru Pasti, Swadhyay, Sanam, Tap, and Dan. So here we have charity being one of the 6 essentials. The other 6 attributes, Kesha Lochan, which is the plucking of their own hair, Remember, we're talking about sadhus and sadhvis. Asana, which is not bathing. Bhumishayan, which is sleeping on the floor. Adantadovan, no brushing teeth. Eating food only while standing and only eating once a day. So that's the Digambar tradition of 27 attributes of the sadhus and sadhvis.
So the plucking of the hair, is that only a Digambar tradition? Or does Swetambar?
Right?
I think it's
Do they still do that?
Yeah.
Or no, they
They
just
do
shave
only
their head?
little, that's what I heard.
Huh?
They only do like few as
Few.
the ritual, but then they shave.
The
the
shave,
rest
they,
off,
nowadays they shave.
But they have to do few. Right?
Few.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know how true that is.
Dimir, what was the one before eating once a day? It was eating while upright?
Standing.
Yes,
Standing.
while standing on.
I didn't
You
realize.
gotta eat it with your hands too. You can't use any like utensils. So they just
But
take
I-
it in like their thing, and you gotta kind of like scoop it with your thumb or something like that.
But you're not supposed to sit while you're eating.
No, you gotta stand.
Good for digestion.
But in
But-
Swetambar, I thought you have to sit down.
You're
and
supposed to
eat.
sit
Yeah.
down whenever you're
You
eating,
eat.
right? Because that's why do Ekashmi Vaishnavi, you can't
You
just
sit-
drink
yeah,
water.
that's-
Even
yeah.
you have to sit down.
You have to even sit for drinking water. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's an interesting
So
So
decision.
the sadhu sadhvis eat standing up?
In the Digambar tradition.
So Digambar, they have all this Ekashmi Vaishnavi and all those things.
Yes, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
they do it standing up?
They're
Yes,
only
the
supposed to eat
sadhus-
once a day, so it's just Ekashmi. That's it.
But
No,
But they
like
do
when
Ekashmi
they're
standing
eating,
up.
You have to
Yes.
stand
They're
standing.
standing. Oh wow.
oh,
But do they still have the
Patra.
patras and stuff?
Utensils.
No, not
Yeah,
utensils.
the one where they carry the stuff. Like patra is like a
The-
container.
The containers, red container, remember? No.
Because you can't. There's no possession. You don't even have clothes. You can't put them back in it.
So how do they get the food?
They gotta go to someone's house and they feed
Right,
them.
exactly. So
So they just get in the hand and they just eat right there and there.
So they just give it to them in their hand. They just put their hand out. They put like one spoon in there, and the guy like eats it, and then you put the next spoon, and that's how they eat.
Have you met any when you were in India?
I've never been to India, so no.
Oh, you've never been to.
I mean, I've seen the video. But,
Okay.
Yeah, I've done feeding it.
When we go to Kutch, we've seen like Sulmanas have come to the house and everybody, we make food and you serve them, but that's about it.
But Digambars only, the, what you call like which are like the stay area they are in is very specific area. they
Right.
stay in.
Yeah. No, that I understood. I just didn't know where.
All right, so now that you know that there are 108 attributes, and you already know that there are 108 beads on the mala, well, now we have a new way to use the mala, right? Instead of doing the mala and reciting Naukar mantra, we can now do each of the 108 attributes. And it's okay, there's nothing that says you don't have to use a piece of paper. You can use a piece of paper, and nothing that says you have to memorize it. I'm not asking you to memorize 108 attributes. You can use a piece of paper, and you can have your mala, and you can think about it, and you can think about how it applies to your life, and how you can do those things in your life. And that might be better, because that is the whole point of the Nokar mantra. It's a better way to do the Nokar mantra, is to just think about the 108 attributes, because that's ultimately what you're supposed to be doing, as we discussed. Anybody have a mala? Everybody has a mala at home?
Yes.
Anybody use it?
Yes.
It's kind of easy. You gotta go like this. It's hard to use it. It takes a little practice to use it properly. All the aunties know how to use it. They only teach you. Other questions or comments? So now you know the significance of the number 108. I believe that Jayesh has the Twitter account that is just 108. I think that's a JSH account. It's a piece of trivia that you might not know. You go on Twitter and look, what is 108? That's a Jain Society of Houston account.
The splits between like when you there's Swetambar and Digambar. Also, Buddhism is very similar to Jainism. Like, the splits occur, is it because the interpretation of the agams, or like, is it just because of the difference in interpretation, then there's splits?
You want the theoretical reason or the real reason? The real
The
life reason.
practical.
The practical reason is that there are periods that are very economically good and periods that are very economically bad. And during the periods that are economically good, a lot of religious doctrine is relaxed. In all religions, including Jainism. And what happens is people don't like that. People rebel against that. And people say, oh, that's not orthodox. And so they gain popularity during the times of economic hardship. And so Digambar is more orthodox than Swetambar. And that schism happened because of that, because a certain amount of Jain monks and nuns went away and experienced experienced less economic hardship and therefore relaxed the rules. And when they came back, the Digambar, the people that they left, were all like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And that's how the schism occurred.
So it's dependent on the economic hardship, basically. So are you saying that when there's more hardship, people will cling to religion more,
Yes.
and the rules and rituals are more strict?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's like how the length of women's skirts gets shorter as the economy gets better, but they get longer as the economy gets worse.
This is more, I was debating this theoretically with someone last week, where like we were saying like, you know how when every time there's a Tirthankar, they're supposed to reestablish, right? Like what Jainism, the true meaning. Like right now you don't know because there's two sects and whatever, like who's right, who's wrong. There's no authoritative answer, right? But the Tirthankar is supposed to know because then you either believe or you don't, right? But there can't be two sects at that point. So we were debating like when Mahavir Bhagwan was there, was there still Swetambar Digambar? Or is it just he's there and there's only Jain and that's it?
So most likely there's only what his interpretation is, and that's it, because his is the correct one.
Right,
Because
but
it's
that
not an
makes-
interpretation.
Right,
Because
but that-
it's knowledge.
Yeah, because he's omniscient, right? But then could there not be someone there who just says, I don't believe you, and then I'm just doing my own thing?
Of course. There's people of other religions when Mahavir walked the earth that says, I don't believe what you say.
Right, so in that same vein, could you not have like other Jain sects that exist at the same time?
No, but in the beginning, there was just one, and then people split, right?
Yeah, I think I see what you're getting at.
I think there are some different reasoning. So some people say when Mahavir Bhagwan that was the latest that everyone mostly knows, right? When he was giving that 3 days of Samavasran, all these people were trying to take notes, right? Like some were writing, mostly people were just trying to grasp it. And it was too much, and not everyone had the same intellect. Not everyone can remember all 3 days of continuous. So people just grasped and retained the information they could, and they just started their own sampradayas. And that's how, maybe it was said in one way, but you interpreted it
Right.
differently than I interpret differently, and then that's how all these branches started. But it's not just Swetambar Digambar, they're like Kitachur, and I don't know, they're like zillion different.
Right.
That's it. But
Because each person has a different interpretation
Yeah.
of what the sermon originally given was.
Right, and then after that, the things in between that, they started breaking it apart because, like he said, right, like with the Kalami, people wanted to believe in different things. Even like right now, like some Bhagwans sadhus are okay to use technology and AC because they think time has changed. Whereas some are still at orthodox, they're like, no, we cannot do it. It was not. Some are using fridge. They're like, oh, there were no fridge to know that we could use it or not. Bhagwan never said you cannot use the fridge per se, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, then people start kind of breaking apart, and you just follow what you can.
I think I understand your question. I think the answer is that yes, it is possible for a Jain to have believed something else, but it wouldn't have formed a schism because it wouldn't have practically formed a schism. That person would be isolated. They wouldn't have garnered enough support to form a different sect because we could go to the source of knowledge, and that would set the matter straight.
But the source of knowledge was only there for 3 days, right? Then
No,
he
he
came
walked.
back.
He delivered sermons for 20 years.
But the Dwani was only for 3 days, no? Is that, I'm thinking of something different?
Tell me what you're thinking about.
Like, he was giving the Dwani for 3 days, right? And then he
When he got
Then-
Kewal Nyan, that was
then
3
he
days of
wasn't-
summer Western.
then he was no longer on earth.
Right.
No,
But-
he walked on earth after
After.
Kevalnyan for many, many years, delivering sermons.
Oh.
That was just one. So people asked him questions about stuff like this.
So, but when he had cable again, he knew that nothing could hurt, or so he just went and just gave sermons, like gave speeches everywhere, all over.
Right. So remember, Kevalnyan is just eliminating one karma out of the 8. You eliminate Nanavarniya karma.
Okay.
But so now eventually you're going to eliminate everything else. But remember, he still has a body. He's still doing so. He still has all this other karma,
Right.
but he knows how to get rid of them. And so what's special about a Tirthankar is that instead of just achieving Kevalnyan, then getting rid of all their karma, then going to moksha, they set up the Jain system. So after you have Kevalnyan, he still has other karma. He's still attaching karma to his soul, but he's burning them off very fast. And he's still, because he's alive, because he's breathing, because he's still eating,
Right.
he's still getting karma.
Okay.
So yeah, so don't confuse. I think what's happening is that we're conflating Kevalnyan with moksha.
Right.
So let's not confuse that. Yeah, so Kevalnyan happens, and then you can still live on earth for a long time, and then moksha happens.
So, but after Kevalnyan, you can, like you said earlier, you still get because you're breathing. So
Right.
your karmas are still coming.
Remember, just because you know everything, you can still know you're getting karma, and you can still be doing karma. You can still be, you might say, well, if he knew that he was getting karma, why was he doing it?
Mm.
Well, because he's a Tirthankar, and he wanted to deliver sermons, and he is one of the persons that set up the Jain system. If you achieve Kevalnyan right now, you would not do that. You would become a hermit. You take, or you might take Diksha and then become a holy person. So you do one of those two things. Other questions or comments? Thank you so much for your time this week. It's a little bit of a short class. Remember, when Arya walks into the room, what do we think about?
She's a soul.
Soul, just like ours, right? Just like ours, right? As old as us. As old as us. The only thing different, if you can't see that, then it's a problem. The only thing different is the shell surrounding the soul. Okay, so just a soul like mine, as old as me. Okay. Thank you so much for your time this week. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samir.